What's up, pet people? Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm not going to be covering my pets at all, actually. Instead, I'm going to be showing you guys my plants. I'm not going to be doing any plant care or anything like that. I'm just going to be taking you through and showing you guys my plant collection currently. I'm not going to be including cuttings because I have so many cuttings, but I might show you a few here and there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's video and let's get into it. Today's video, like I said, I'm going to be doing all of my plants, kind of showing cuttings, not really though, and the way I'm going to do this is by showing them in categories. I'm going to do this in my monsteras, my pothos, my philodendrons, my snake plants, because I have a couple different varieties of those, and I'm just going to go through each one. I have multiple doubles of my pothos just because I have pothos, however you say it. I have quite a few cuttings that I've turned into other plants, so I have a wide variety of pothos plants that have stemmed from the original plant, but I will be showing those as well. Like I said, I'm not going to go into plant care today. I might do a plant care video in the future. I'm just not sure since this is an animal care video. If you would like a plant care video, tell me in the description below. I did used to work at a plant nursery. It was one of my favorite jobs ever, and I really loved not only getting cuttings from the nursery, but also explaining to people how to properly care for their plants. I do the best I can with mine. It's a little different caring for them here in California than in Texas. In my personal opinion, it's a lot easier to care for them here. That's just my opinion though, and yeah, not going into plant care, but let's get started by me showing you my Monstera plants. Okay guys, so getting right into it, here we have my Monstera. This is one of my bigger plants that I have. I did have a giant Monstera, which I will show you a cutting off of here in a little bit. My cat's trying to get up here and touch it. But as you can see, this one has a new leaf coming in. It's one of my favorites. It really doesn't have a whole lot of fenestration, which is these holes here in the leaves. I think part of that was due to the fact that I did have it growing in my bathroom in Texas, so it didn't get a ton of light, and I didn't shake it as much as I do. But I have been shaking it a lot more, and it seems to be doing well regardless. Either way, I'm really super happy with this plant and love it. This is my Monstera. Moving on to my other Monstera, this was from a giant plant I had. As you can see, the leaves were quite big, bigger than my hand in fact. I do have new growth coming off of this one right here. It was from a cutting from that plant. That plant unfortunately did die. Well, by die, I mean I threw it away because it had a spider mite problem, and whenever working at the plant nursery, instead of just dealing with spider mites because they can actually get to your other plants and cause negative impact on those, I was told just to get rid of the plant. So I understand this leaf is ugly, it's okay, she's still doing well, and we have new growth, so that means overall it's doing well and has roots beginning in here. So super excited about this, hoping to get it back to a big plant. Sorry, she's a little ugly. Okay guys, the next Monstera I have is my Monstera Attisonai. I have not replanted it yet. I've had it for a little while, not super long. I've not replanted it due to not wanting to shock it, but I do have new leaves coming in here, which means I should be good to replant it here soon. It's not always necessary. It's just whenever I do water it, I don't see soil coming out the bottom, which makes me think it needs like a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? It just needs better soil to produce air holes so that the water can go through and we don't end up getting root rot. For some reason, all of my plant care vocabulary has left me. But this is my Monstera Attisonai. She's beautiful. I love her. We have multiple new leaves coming in. Now that I look at it, I actually see have two coming in, so super excited about that. Here's the last of my Monsteras. This is my Monstera Attisonai. Alright guys, so getting directly into my Pothos collection. Like I said, I have many doubles of this, and it's just because these guys are so easy to propagate that I just have endless ones. Excuse my cat for sneezing. Anyway, this is my Pothos Enjoy. You can tell it is an Enjoy versus a Pearls and Jade due to the fact that it is a lot more white here on these white parts, and the leaves are more pointed. I do have a cutting for Pearls and Jade that I'm going to show you guys just so you can see the difference. As you can see, again, the Enjoy, very pointed, very, very white. And then my cutting over here for my Pearls and Jade more circular, not as pointy, a little bit more yellow in the white areas. I do have a little new leaf part coming in, but because it is a cutting, I'm going to assume that that won't do good until I have roots coming along, just because it does take a bit longer for them to turn into actual leaves once we get them out of the water. So here is my Enjoy, one of my favorite plants of all time. Okay, so the next one on my pothos, believe it or not, this is a giant Hawaiian pothos. The leaves are supposed to get like a foot across. I did just get a cutting off of Etsy a couple months ago. It took a while for it to start putting out new leaves, but this right here is a new leaf that came out earlier this month. So I have good hopes for it. Like all my other tropicals that I have, it is under a grow light, so I expect it'll start growing here soon. But for the time being, it is still a little baby. Alright everyone, so up next we just have my plain Jane Jade Pothos. No variegation or anything on this one. They can have variegation in the leaves. This one just hasn't yet. Variegation is the color differentiation in the leaves, but like I said, this one seems, I mean, there's a little bit right there, but not a whole lot going on. This was from a cutting from the plant nursery I worked at, so I'm super excited to see it grow into a big, beautiful plant. She is a little leggy because I didn't originally have her under the light with everyone else. I had her in a different spot in my living room, but decided that we needed to go ahead and go under the grow light with the rest of my tropicals, so hoping that she does better from here on out. Next is my marbled queen pothos. This plant was outside on my balcony. I have about 3 or 4 of these actually, and they all have different types of variegation. Bless you, Sirius. His inhaler needs to be given to him soon, but they all have different types of variegation. As you can see, this leaf is super variegated. This one not so much. It just honestly depends on different things with the plant's environment. I honestly like it when it looks like this. It's very different in the contrast between the colors. These leaves are cool too, in my opinion. They just burn easier, hence this one. So I am a bit more nervous whenever I get all white leaves. They're beautiful, but I like these a bit better. So here's one variation of my marbled queen. And I say variation because I said I have many of these plants. This one was also out on the balcony for a bit. It was a cutting. I originally only had these 2 leaves out of it, but I've had this cutting for 3 months? 3 months, and I've gotten other leaves out of it. As you can see, there's variegation, no variegation, variegation, no variegation, variegation, and then no variegation that I can see from here on out. So I think we have a little bit of a pattern going down the vine. Really like it. Again, I know it's a small plant right now, but it did come from a cutting. So I think we're doing pretty good based on whenever the cutting was taken. So yes, those are my 2 indoor marbled queens. I do have plenty of pothos and stuff outside on my balcony. I'm just not gonna show you my balcony or bring them in actually, because I don't want people knowing where I'm living by looking off my balcony. So here is my other indoor marbled queen. Alright guys, so as I said, I wasn't really going to show my cuttings, but I absolutely adore these golden pothos cuttings that I have. I have about 3 or 4 jars of these in my kitchen and 2 more in my bedroom where the grow lights are on my shelf and everything. These cuttings actually came off of a plant that I have on my balcony. All of the cuttings actually that I have for goldens right now came off of one that was on my balcony. And I'm just going to kind of try and make more hanging baskets with these cuttings and see how we can do. These right here are actually ready to plant. I'm going to be planting these later this evening after I finish this video, as well as the other ones in jars like this. I'm not showing you my actual plants because I do have one. It's hanging here in my living room. Don't really want to take it down right now, but I also just have so many of them, and they're such a common and easy to take care of plant that I would rather show you the cuttings and the cutting progress than go around and show you my like 5 other of this exact plant that I have. So yes, here are my golden pothos cuttings. And then since we're showing cuttings, I'm going to go ahead and show my Snow Queen Pothos cutting that I have. Absolutely obsessed and hoping that it turns into an actual plant here soon. The roots aren't super long. I'm going to wait until it divides again. As you can see here, I do have, how do these beauty gurus do it? I do have 2 little roots. Is it focused? Yeah, it's focused. I do have two little roots right there. I do want to wait until they get longer and kind of disperse and divide into more roots, or until I have a new leaf growing off of it. But yes, this is my Snow Queen Pothos cutting. Okay guys, up next we are going to talk about my philodendrons. I absolutely love these. I have some more back in Texas that I would like to bring back to California eventually. However, plant laws are really strict here, so probably not going to get them until I move out of California. That said, the first one I would like to show is this beautiful Brazil philodendron. As you can see, I have a lot of new growth coming in. Super excited about that. I do have a couple duplicates of this one here. I have this one, and then I have a much leggier one that I have off of a cutting from a friend. She was super nice to cut it off of her plant for me. That said, this one, no matter how hard I try, and even though it's been under grow lights, is super leggy. Not quite sure why, but I might end up making another cutting out of it because I do have a really good node here and I have a node here, so might go ahead and cut this leggy part off and make another plant to put into this pot to make it just a little bit bushier. So as I said, these are my Brazil philodendrons. You can tell because it's the dark green with the neon green splash in the middle, whereas my riophilidendron is this one here. Not as leggy, still kind of leggy. This was a cutting from that same girl who gave me a cutting of the Brazil. Even though I have cuttings off of my other plants, it was super nice of her to share these with me. And you can tell this is a Rio due to the fact that it has the dark green, the neon, and then kind of a yellow-white in the center. Can't wait for this one to grow a bit more. Has lots of new growth and really bunched up though. So like I said, might also cut this one and make it into cuttings. I have more cuttings of this plant. I might eventually put in this pot as well, kind of in these areas to make it a bushier plant overall. We will see though. So my Brazil and my Rio, and then my last philodendron that I have here is my beautiful neon philodendron. I say it different every time, and I'm sorry, it's just... I say them philodendrons. My friends say them philodendron. It's a thing. But anyway, here is my beautiful neon. Ignore my little gnat sticky trap. We are dealing with stuff on my plant shelf right now. Overall, haven't seen any in a long time. Have very few gnats on there. Still don't want any to begin with. I have new growth right here. This is a brand new leaf. I have been trying to get it to climb up this pole, and it's doing an okay job. That said, I do have a lot of new growth right here. Might either clip this, make a cutting, or pin it to the ground here and try to fill out the base of this pot. Haven't yet decided, but here is my neon philodendron. And I've had this one for, it actually started out of a cutting as well. Same girl who gave me the cutting of the Brazil and the Rio. And I also have a cutting growing off of this exact plant too right now. But I got them all at the same time, and as you can see, this one has grown so much compared to the other two. Less leggy, but keep them all in similar conditions, so not quite sure what's happening there. Either way, she's gorgeous, and I love all of my philodendrons that I have here equally. So yeah, here's my neon. Okay guys, so moving on to my snake plants. Here we have this little one. I've had this one for a couple months now as well. At first, I thought it was a black star snake plant, but in all honesty, the black stars get a little more yellow in the center here. As you can see, this is just very yellow on the edges. So I think it's a black gold extreme. I'm not the greatest with snake plant variations. However, it does seem to have a lot thinner of the yellow on the sides than down the center. So I definitely think this is a black gold extreme. First, this is my selenica. As you can see, it's very dark with the light stripes in the center. Completely different looking than this one. So have issues again understanding them all the way. However, I do think this one is a selenica for sure. I've had this one for quite some time. I have had some new growth off of it since I've had it. I've had this one in particular like a year. Over a year. Anyway, love this one. It's doing well. It's thriving. This one is normally one of my mini out on my balcony. I did bring this one in because I wanted to show the variations that I do have. Yeah, so here is the selenica. Yes, I think this one's a Laurentii. Not quite sure, but could be, could also not be. The difference with this one though is that it came off of this plant that I have here, which again looks nothing like it. I used to think this one was a starlight because of how light it is in the center. Also, this was a cutting from someone that I do have my new little growth. Here, I'm gonna try not to tip it down here in the pot. So she is doing well. This leaf was damaged whenever I got her. I've only had this one for, I don't even know how long, but these are from the same plant, guys. Like, they grew together, and it's wild to me how different they look. But yeah, pretty sure this one's a starlight. Not a, like, the center looks like a starlight. The edges are just a little more yellow than I thought starlights were. But it does look like the starlights that we did have at the plant nursery. So those are my snake plants. Moving directly on from my snake plant, now I'm going to talk about my miscellaneous plants that I don't have a ton of, so I don't have specific categories for them, but I am going to show them to you anyway. These both came from cuttings from my previous plant nursery that I worked at. They are both ZZ plants. The only difference is this one is a raven ZZ. They have black leaves and the new growth is very, very neon green. They're super cool. Love them so much. And this is just a normal ZZ plant. Now, I've had this one for like a year and a half, almost 2 years now. There's no new growth on it though, because ZZ plants do grow extremely slowly, even if given perfect conditions. So not expecting new growth on them anytime soon. But as I said earlier, I do want to do an updated plant tour like a year from now, so I can show you guys how all my cuttings have done, as well as show you the growth on the plants that I showed you today. I'll probably have more, as I said earlier, and new ones to show you, but yes, these are my ZZ plants. We have the raven and the regular. So the next plant is a Sago palm. Honestly, I bought it looking pretty rough. I think it looks better, in my opinion. This was very twisted whenever I got it. I rotate it regularly to try and make sure that it doesn't twist as much. I do have it out on my balcony. Oh no, I just knocked a leaf off. I do have it out on my balcony. I do give it palm food. I do let it dry out and do what I'm supposed to with it. This leaf looks, like this frond here looks amazing. Oh, not even in view. This one looks really great. As we can see, there's some yellowing on these here. Honestly, that's probably on me. Palms aren't my greatest plant, but they're not my worst plant either. Honestly, the thing that's hardest for me to keep alive, and don't come for me, is succulents. But, you know, the ones in here are doing well, so that's all I can ask for. Alright guys, I'm gonna finish up the video here after these last two plants. I do have quite a few more throughout the apartment, but I'm realizing how long this video is, so I'm just gonna show my last two, which are some of my favorites. Here we have my pink polka dot plant. Ooh, I have bottom watered it today because I said it is plant maintenance day, so she's a little wet whenever I pick her up, but here is my pink polka dot plant. I am obsessed with these, and I finally was able to get my hands on one. I absolutely just love the pinkness of them, which is quite weird considering I'm not normally a pink person. They're just so gorgeous here on this plant, and I've had it for not very long, so that's why it hasn't been transplanted out of its sales pot yet, but do not worry, she will be transplanted soon. And then the last plant that I'm going to cover today is another one of my favorites. This is my Pepperoma ripple. This is a burgundy black, so as you can see, they are kind of red burgundy stalks and dark green or black leaves. I just love the ripple peperomias. I do have that emerald one. You might remember me putting a cutting into my frog enclosure. That cutting did not survive. I'm not going to lie to you, did not make it at all. But this one I also want to start propagating because these leaves are just so pretty and I absolutely adore this plant. So yes, here is my Pepperoma ripple, or Pepperoma capitera ripple. It is a burgundy black, as I was saying. So that is the last two plants I'm going to show. Now to the outro. Alright guys, there you have it. There were the majority of my plants. Honestly, for my own personal kind of haha, I want to see how many I have. I will be tallying them whenever I'm editing. So I'm curious to see how many plants I actually have that I showed you today. As I said, I do have a lot of cuttings throughout the house, as well as a lot of plants in my enclosures. As you may have noticed, I didn't go over any of the plants that I have in the enclosures just because I don't count them as my hobby plants as much as I do enrichment for the animals. So I did not count any of the enclosure plants. If you watch my enclosure builds, you pretty much know what I have in the enclosures. As I said though, I have taken all the live plants out of Boomy's enclosure due to the whole earwig infestation thing. But this one is still all live plants. My frog enclosure, all live plants. I'm once again redoing my crested gecko enclosure because he just loves killing everything in there. Not quite sure what to do with that, but I'm going to try one last time. And I have a beautiful alocasia poly that I'm going to make one of these centerpieces in the enclosure. So I'm super excited for that, but I don't count that as one of my hobby plants due to the fact that it will be for my gecko. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed making it and kind of showing my collection. I know it wasn't necessarily an educational video or a care video of any type. If you do want a plant care video, please feel free to comment in the description box down below. More specifically, if you want care on one of my specific plants that I have, or if you have generalized plant care questions, feel free to ask. As I said, I did work at a plant nursery. I was not good with ground coverage or any of the front yard decor plants. My specialty is tropical plants. I do really good with those, and as I said, I have a lot back home. One of my favorites being a 4-foot wide split leaf philodendron. That was one of my amazing, beautiful plants that I love. Honestly, it wouldn't have fit in the screen even if I did have it here. But yeah, I have a deep love for plants and plant care and education. So if you're interested in seeing that as well as my animal care and education, feel free to put in the comments below. Animal care and plant care do go hand in hand, so that's something I would really like to start getting into with all of you guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for coming back. I know I took quite a bit of time off, more than I originally wanted to, but I'm feeling refreshed and better than I have in a long time, and I'm so ready to make content for you guys again. I know I've probably said this like a handful of times, but this time I genuinely in my soul mean it. And I can't wait for December because I have some fun, what was it called in like 2014, 15? Petmas? Was it Petmas? I don't know. I have some fun stuff revolving Christmas and making stuff for my pets and giving them little gifts and things like that. So I'm super excited for this upcoming month. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my plants. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye.